What happened? Come on. Come on, start. Okay. Started? Okay, fine. I'm the host now, and let me open the PPT. We are discussing. Okay, we are discussing here. Is my document visible? I don't know whether my voice is audible or not. Sir, please tell me, sir. Rahul Kumar. Chapandi. Rahul Kumar. Okay. Mute. I want people to mute your call. Mute Gopal. Okay. Okay. Oh, fine. We are discussing about which one? I hope I am clearly visible. Okay. Okay. Fine. So we are discussing about the quality control కదండి మనం measurement గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నాం. Before class is same or different? అర్థం కాలే. మనం ఇంకా సిలబస్ డిస్కస్ చేస్తాం అండి. బిఫోర్ క్లాస్ సేమ్ or డిఫరెంట్ అంటే నాకు అర్థం కాలేదు మీ క్వశ్చన్. హలో, చెప్పండి. ఓకే, నా వాయిస్ వినిపిస్తుందండి అందరికి? ఈజ్ మై వాయిస్ ఆడిబుల్?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So here we have see, ఇది లెజిస్లేషన్ కి వెళ్ళిపోయింది. Okay. Here we are discussing the quality control, measurement and evaluation of performance. We are discussing. I told you like how the safety performance and how we can evaluate, how to measure, in what way the measurement can be done, what is near lost time accident analysis, how the accidents are been will be reported, frequency rate calculation, severity rate last calculation, incident rate, frequency severity rate calculations అవి మనం చూస్తాం. అది పెద్ద క్యాల్కులేషన్స్ ఏం కాదండి. Simple, they'll have a simple formulas. According to the inputs we'll get from our HR department, or employees count, we'll ensure that measurement. Okay, we'll ensure that measurement. తర్వాత ఇప్పుడు కాదు. Okay. Major accidents and hazardous control. So here we will look into what is the quality control law. We'll look into that. What are the major accidents? What are the definitions? How to control that major accidents? Okay. What is the role of government, management, local authorities, and public? For example, in my company on that day. For example, if it is a company which will emit poisonous gases, the output. So what is the role of government? గవర్నమెంట్ అనేసరికి ఏమొస్తాయండి? ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ పొల్యూషన్ కంట్రోల్ బోర్డ్. ఏ ఇండస్ట్రీ పెట్టాలన్నా సరే ఫస్ట్ థింగ్ ఏం చేస్తారంటే, ఫస్ట్ ఈఏ అనేది ఒకటి చేస్తారు. ఈఐఏ అనేది ఒకటి చేస్తారు. ఎవరికైనా తెలుసా వాట్ ఈస్ ఈఐఏ మీన్? ఎన్వైరన్మెంటల్ ఇంపాక్ట్ అసెస్మెంట్. ఏ కంపెనీ ఎక్కడ పెట్టాలన్నా సరే ఫస్ట్ వాట్ దే విల్ డూ EIA, environmental impact assessment. After that, what they will do, they'll go for EC. Okay, what is EC? Environmental clearance. Okay, after environmental clearance, they will apply for CFE. Okay, consent for establishment. After CFE, they'll go for CFO under concern for operations. Okay, so ఇవన్నీ అప్లై చేసినప్పుడు దేర్ ఆర్ ద పై ఉన్నవన్నీ సపోర్టింగ్ డాక్యుమెంట్స్ ఉంటాయి. చాలా సపోర్టింగ్ డాక్యుమెంట్స్ మనం అప్లోడ్ చేయాలి. చేసి మన పర్మిషన్స్ తెచ్చుకోవాలన్నమాట ఫ్రమ్ ద గవర్నమెంట్ బాడీస్. దాని రోల్ ఆఫ్ గవర్నమెంట్స్ అని, రోల్ ఆఫ్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ ఏంటి, ఒక హజార్డ్స్ కంట్రోల్లో రోల్ ఆఫ్ లోకల్ అథారిటీస్ ఏంటి అన్ని మనకి వస్తాయి అన్నమాట. ఓకే, దే విల్ క్లియర్లీ మెన్షన్ వాట్ ఈస్ ద రోల్స్ అండ్ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీస్ ఆఫ్ government, management, and local authorities and public in controlling major accident when if it happens. What are the దీనికి ఏంటంటే ఎన్వైరన్మెంట్ ఆన్ సైట్ ఎమర్జెన్సీ ప్లాన్ ఉంటుంది ఒకటి, ఆఫ్ సైట్ ఎమర్జెన్సీ ప్లాన్ అనేది ఇంకోటి ఉంటుంది. వాట్ ఆర్ ద డిఫరెంట్ టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ ఎమర్జెన్సీ? వాట్ యూ మీన్ బై ఆఫ్ సైట్? In what way? If some kind of emergency happens which will affect the public, what kind of offset emergency plans? What are the hazard controls you are going to maintain? For example, LG polymers ayindi, like what are the main thing what happened? There is no offset emergency plan for that. Okay, that's the reason many things happen. That should not be discussed publicly like this. It will be an effect. Not only polymers, there is, if any gas leak is there, okay, there should be always offsite emergency plans. If your company is working or if your company is established in between the public areas, there should be an offsite emergency plan. Okay, and on-site emergency, on-site and with for the employees who are working inside. Okay, in this accidents and major accident hazard control, we'll go with two plans. Okay, and we'll look into the roles of government, roles of local authorities, and etc. Okay, preparation and assessment of safety audit. Okay, we'll go into how to prepare, how to assess the safety audit. There are n number of steps involved. In what way the safety audit should be prepared, like what are the scope of the audit, what in what way the after scope of audit, in after the audit has come from in gate to the ending closing meeting, what are the preparations to be done, how the what are the methodologies of or assessment of audit will be also discussed. In what are the first thing adutar, what is your audit methodology in adutar? If you're going into the opening meeting, I have done audit for steel plant and I have done ISO 45001 audit for steel plant in my career, and also I have done for BHL and also different prominent companies. For steel plant, I have done audit for 7 days with a team of 4 people, and we have given we have submitted the report. And here, why I'm saying is there will be a safety in every department where I go. They have some departments they will ask, what is your audit methodology? What is in what way you'll do the audit? That's also will be discussed in this chapter. Report of BIS 14489. BIS and the Bureau of Indian Standards 14489 says as the code of practice. Okay, code of conduct during safety audit. Okay, code of conduct during safety audit మీరు కావాలంటే చూసుకోవచ్చు. దీన్ని బేస్ చేసుకొని పాయింట్ మనం మెథడాలజీస్ చేస్తాం, రిపోర్ట్ ప్రిపేర్ చేస్తాం. తర్వాత ఆడిట్లో ఏంటి అడగాలని కూడా దీంట్లో ఉంటాయి, కానీ అన్ని ఫాలో అయ్యి కాకుండా మన ఇండస్ట్రీ స్పెసిఫిక్గా మనం చూసుకొని మనం అడుగుతాం అనమాట. ఓకే, సేఫ్టీ రిపోర్ట్ స్టాండర్డ్స్, ఐఎల్ఓ కోడ్స్ అండ్ ప్రాక్టీస్ అన్ని మనం దీంట్లో చూస్తాం. బిఐఎస్ 14489 గురించి మనం ఎలాబరేట్గా మనం చూద్దాం. ఓకే, మేజర్ యాక్సిడెంట్ కంట్రోల్ సిస్టమ్, లోకల్, స్టేట్, నేషనల్. ఓకే, సో దట్ ఆల్ కమ్స్ అండర్ ఏంటంటే quality control. After quality control, we have 105 paper which will say and which we'll discuss about legislation. Okay, in this legislation, these all things are pertaining to legal aspects. Okay, we'll look into Factories Act 1948. We'll look into ILO conventions and recommendations. Okay, and also we look into different acts: Liability Act, Worker Compensation Act, Social Accountability Act. Okay, so in Factories Act 1948, we will look into different sections from section and if you can see, if you have any book of Factories Act 1948 in which you'll have metal in which you'll have sections pertaining to safety, health, and environment. Okay, according to me, like section chapter 2 says about health, chapter 3 says about sorry, chapter 3 says about health, chapter 4 says about safety, and chapter 4a says about section provisions related to hazardous process. ఒకవేళ hazardous process లో ఫాలో అయ్యి ఉంటే మీ కంపెనీ, దానికి ఏం ప్రొవిజన్స్ లో రిలేటెడ్ ఉండదండి, 41A టు 41H అనేది ఉంటుందండి. అది మీరు చూస్తారా, సెక్షన్స్ కూడా 1 by 1 మనం డిస్కస్ చేద్దాం. ఓకే, సో హియర్ విల్ లుక్ ఇన్ టు ఫ్యాక్టరీస్ యాక్ట్, లెజిస్లేషన్స్, యాక్ట్స్, వర్కర్, ఎవ్రీథింగ్ విల్ లుక్ ఇన్ టు ఇన్ దిస్ పేపర్. ఇదంతా లెజిస్లేషన్ పేపర్ అంటే. ఓకే, యాక్ట్స్, ఫ్యాక్టరీస్ యాక్ట్స్, industrial hygiene 106 paper. In industrial hygiene we'll look into the what do you mean by industrial hygiene, and what in industrial hygiene law the main and discuss regarding the airborne contaminants. You'll discuss about airborne contaminants. Okay, so what are the airborne contaminants? Like dust particles, gases, fumes, mist, vapor, smokes, and etc. So these are the different kinds of airborne contaminants. We'll identify the airborne contaminants. We'll measure what are the different kinds of techniques to measure those airborne contaminants. What are the different control measures? What are the air sampling strategies? We'll see in this uh, paper, industrial hygiene. And why personal protective equipment is defined here. Why to, what is the main purpose of uh, identifying the contaminant entity. Entity అంటే ఏంటి, ఏం లేదండి, ఎంటిటీస్ అంటే ఇప్పుడు గ్యాసెస్ అనేది ఒక ఎంటిటీ అండి. ఓకే, డస్ట్ అనేది ఒక ఎంటిటీ, మిస్ట్ అనేది ఒక ఎంటిటీ. ఎంటిటీ అంటారు అంటే ఒక విధమైన ఎయిర్ బాండ్ పార్టికల్. ఓకే, ఫ్యూమ్స్ అవన్నీ ఒక ఎంటిటీస్ అన్నమాట. ఎందుకు ఎంటిటీస్ అనేవి వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్, ఎందుకు మనం, యూ కెన్ ఎనీవన్ టెల్ వై టు ఐడెంటిఫై ద ఎయిర్బోర్న్ కంటామినెంట్స్? ఎనీవన్, why it is important to identify airborne contaminants? Particles, size of the particles, why it is important to identify size of the particles? డస్ట్కి ఒక సైజ్ ఉంటుంది పార్టికల్స్, ఫ్యూమ్స్కి ఒక సైజ్ ఉంటుంది, కెమికల్స్కి ఒక సైజ్ ఉంటుంది, వ్యాపర్స్కి, మిస్ట్కి. వై ఇట్ ఈస్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ టు ఐడెంటిఫై ద contaminants in the air? Why it is important to identify the particulate matter, PM10 సైజెస్ ఉంటాయి దానికి. ఎందుకంటే
it might affect
please
the lungs. That's why we are measuring the airborne
yes sir
particles.
yes sir please say it
might
again, sir.
It might affect the lungs.
Yes,
we are
okay,
calculating the airborne contaminant to to prevent damage the lungs.
yes, by how, sir? Like see, yes sir, you're very much right. Good. See, the airborne contaminants, by identifying the airborne contaminants, we will identify what kind of respiratory protective equipment is necessary to bring the appropriate personal protective equipment to use the, see, there are different kinds of canister mask or filter mask to identify the appropriate respiratory protective equipment. The contaminant sizes are mentioned or determined. So without contaminants or without determining the airborne particles sizes matter, it is very, it will be wrong decisions while we are giving the personal protective to the employees. Okay, so that's how the airborne contaminants are to be identified. They should be recorded. They should be the particulate matter to be identified, and then they should be the appropriate masks will be given to the employees. Okay, not only appropriate masks, appropriate hazard controls also can be defined by airborne contaminants. Okay, so occupational health, as per who we'll discuss, World Health Organization, and we'll look into common occupational diseases. Okay, what are the occupational diseases? We have a schedule, we have schedule I think 2 of Factories Act 1948, where you can there are the list of occupational health diseases. Okay, we'll discuss regarding that, and we will we'll also discuss what are the causes of the diseases. Okay, evolution of injury, occupational health management services, list of notifiable as per. See, our Factories Act has a clear list which in which the notifiable diseases are listed in Schedule 3. Okay, it's not Schedule 2, it's Schedule 3. So we'll also look into occupational health hazards. Okay, fine. What are the adverse hazards of noise? Health hazards. How noise can affect your health? How vibration can affect your health? Okay, how heat stress can affect your health. In that way, look into different health hazards. Okay, fundamentals, air, occupational diseases, ఇవన్నీ మనం చూస్తాం దీంట్లో. Okay, psycho physiology and ergonomics at work. Ergonomics అనేవి అంటే ఏంటి, what kind of ergonomics to be followed. Okay, in what way the working style and working posture should be maintained. Okay, చూస్తాం. Okay. Mm, ఓకే, ఇవన్నీ ఎర్గనామిక్స్ రిలేటెడ్ అండి, ఇవన్నీ మనం చూస్తాం. ఓకే, సో 7th చాప్టర్ వచ్చేసరికి ఇది సేఫ్టీ ఇన్ కెమికల్. 7th టాపిక్ అంటే 107 పేపర్ వచ్చేసరికి ఇట్ ఈస్ రిలేటెడ్ టు excuse me, it is related to safety in chemical and petrochemical companies. Just a second. రేపు 9 o'clock తీసుకొస్తారా? రేపు మార్నింగ్ 9 o'clock, 9 to 11. రేపు లేకపోతే ఈవినింగ్ తీసుకొస్తారా? రేపు ఈవినింగ్ తీసుకురండి. రేపు ఈవినింగ్, రేపు మిస్ అవుతారా? అయితే మండే ట్యూస్డే కంటిన్యూ, డే ఆఫ్టర్ డే మండే అండ్ ట్యూస్డే. యాక్చువల్గా ఇప్పుడు 9 o'clock నేను బయటకు వెళ్ళిపోతాను. 9 o'clock వెళ్తాను. అవునా? సరే సరే, కూర్చోండి. షూర్ షూర్ షూర్, కూర్చోండి. I'm sorry. So here we.
Excuse me, sir.
Please tell me.
Sir, what is the way of measuring the airborne particles?
What is the
method and way of measuring the airborne particles?
Yes, that's a very good question. We have different kinds of methods like sampling analysis. If it is dust, the dust sampling analysis will be there. Okay, if it is vapors or if it is in a gaseous state, there will be other analysis, the test tube sampling analysis. They will collect the air, mist and water from the airborne or from the atmosphere through a device, and they will insert it to the test tube particles, water particles, and they will do that analysis based on the step-by-step methods. Okay, and also in some industries where the dust, when analysis are there, okay, where the analysis when they have to do that analysis, they will keep one devices which are approved by Andhra Pradesh Pollution Control Board, where they will have a layer by layer sheets inside that devices, where the dust will be collected into the sheets for a particular amount of time, and they will take that dust to their laboratories and they will do the analysis for that, and they will give the standard report of particulate matter, SO2, SOx, and different kinds of values. Okay, these are the few methods where the airborne contaminants can be calculated. The measuring of the particles also can be done through microscopic analysis. It is a part of pollution control board who comes and collect the samples, and they take to the laboratories, and they follow different kinds of analysis techniques based on the particulate matter and based on the entity, whether if it is mist, gas, vapors, fumes, or what. And also these analysis are if you don't have that kind of analysis, you can also see that particulate matter sizes in MSDS. Okay, material safety data sheet. Okay, sir. Hello. Fine. Is it okay, sir? Is it anything that I can tell you? Fine.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. So here we have this UN classified of hazardous materials. Here in this chemical and petrochemical companies, we have uh, this chapter completely says about the how the petrochemicals are handled, and what is the storage, what is the transport, or how they are classified. Okay, UN classified of hazardous materials is nothing but it's a united I am as per the United Nations, they have classified the hazardous chemicals into IMDG codes. Okay, uh, it's like International Maritime Dangerous Goods Code. Okay, that we'll do into they classified class 1 as explosives, class 1.2 or class 2 as flammables, and they have divided class 2 into subclasses 2.2, 2.3, different kinds of things. Okay, so here we have you know in this lesson we'll look into what are the different kinds of hazardous materials, what are the safety in chemical industries, how the chemical industries the safety will be taken care of, usually depending upon the raw materials, depending upon the mix. Pharma, any industry which uses the chemicals as a products or develops its end product from by you mixing of different chemical products comes under even if a company which is using or handling chemicals separately may not completely comes under chemical industries, but they have to follow some guidelines given from the AP, Andhra Pradesh Control Board. Fine. So we'll look into all the siting layout of chemical petroleum, or how sightings and layout should be there, how the plan should be, how the layout of petrochemical plants to be done. Okay, plant area classifications. What are the areas to be classified? What are the areas? I mean, see, if coolant tower is there, some gases when it comes in contact with the water materials or when the fumes and vapors. Okay, nine of okay, they can cause fumes. Okay, that areas can be classified. Instructions of safe plant operations, we look into that. Hazard in unit operation, what is unit process, unit operation, we will look into. Okay, control precautions and prevention. Okay, we look into what are the precautions to be followed, and here we'll look into the industries like fertilizers, insecticides, petrochemicals and explosives, and what are the safety precautions to be followed, we'll look into that. And sampling techniques for toxic and flammable pharmaceutical petrochemical companies will see. And it is all all uh, of the topics which are mentioned in this 107 paper is completely on the chemical related companies and also chemical related products. Start playing. Start playing. Why you're seeing it? Start playing. And also we look into what are the different entities. Precautions. What are the types of precautions involving if some exposure is there? If a person is exposing to some flammable toxics, what are the different control measures we are going to follow? And we also in this paper there are two major definitions, like upper explosive limit, lower explosive limit, upper exposure limits and lower exposure limits. Okay, exposure means a person who is working in that particular environment. Okay, explosive exposure, that comes under exposure. And if it is, if he's working, or if some materials are stored in such a way that they can have a flammable properties, okay, they comes under explosives. Hello, రజాక్ వస్తాను నేను 9:15 కల్లా ఉంటాను. Okay, so okay, receiving, storage and handling of chemicals, we'll look into in detailed way how to receive chemical, how to store the chemicals, what are the precautions to be followed while storing, what are the hazards, and what are the receiving. And while the chemicals are being handled, what are the different types of hazards, and what are the different types of preventive measures, what if preventive, proactive and reactive measures. What do you mean by reactive measures? If something happened, if some spill has happened, what are the emergency response protocols, we'll see in that. Okay, what are the reactive measures, proactive, what are the prevention measures, and what are the proactive measures. Proactive and reactive కి ఏం తేడా లేదండి. proactive అంటే ముందు తీసుకునే జాగ్రత్తలు, రియాక్టివ్ అని ఒకవేళ ఏమైనా అయితే దాన్ని ఎలాగ కంట్రోల్ చేయాలో దాన్ని రియాక్టివ్ ఆర్ ప్రివెంటివ్ మెజర్స్ అంటారు. ఓకే, ఇదే డిఫరెంట్ టైప్ టర్మినాలజీస్ లో వాడతారు. ప్రివెంటివ్, proactive, ఆర్ రియాక్టివ్, ఆర్ ఎమర్జెన్సీ రెస్పాన్స్ మెథడ్స్ అని కూడా మనం అంటాం. Okay, chemical compatibility considerations. Chemical compatibility considerations is nothing but what are if oxidizers and flammables should not be stored in the same place, because when oxidize fumes of the oxidizers are if it comes in contact with the flammable materials, it can auto ignite, because oxidizers are something like any substance which generates when it combines with environment, it can form an oxidizing agent. Okay, oxidizers and flammable materials should not be combined. That is a compatibility considerations you can also see in MSDS, and also you can see in chemical handling containers, or also chemical handling companies. They will never mix oxidizers. And also see, simple example, don't need to go elaborate. Paints and flammable substances are not mixed together, because paints can generate fumes, and that fume can form a burnable or a cloud. Okay, it can and also they will provide ventilation, provide the areas with ventilation. Okay, transport of hazardous materials as per the standards. What are the transport when the hazardous materials are transported? What are the symbols to be followed? What are the precautions when they're unloading the material, unloading the liquids? The static electricity will be developed. But what are the different kinds of things, safety measures? We'll look into this chapter. These are the transfer of chemicals again through pipelines, and how the transfer of chemicals through pipeline is being can be should be done, and what are the precautions. Okay, above, underground, and submarines, what are how they are transferred, in what are the safety precautions to be followed, అది మనం ఇక్కడ దీంట్లో చూస్తాం. Okay, color coding and identification of contents. Color coding and identification of contents, how the color coding is done. ఓకే, కలర్ కోడింగ్ అనేది ఎలా చేస్తారు, ఎందుకు చేస్తారు, వై కలర్ కోడింగ్ టు బి డన్, ఇన్ వాట్ వే ఇట్ ఈస్ డన్. ఓకే, ఫైన్, వాట్ ఈస్ ద పర్పస్ ఆఫ్ ఇట్, విల్ లుక్ ఇన్ టు ఇట్. ఓకే, safety precautions while working for pipelines and entry procedures. What safe entry procedures means? Confined space entries. Okay, safe procedures I'll clearly discuss in a detailed manners everything. We look into the materials have safety data sheets. We look into very elaborate way of material safety data sheets, how the materials safety data sheet is subdivided. First content, tarvata what are the divisions in material safety, what are the information told in material safety data sheets, how it is divided. Material safety data sheet lo not only like material గురించి ఉంటుందండి, it will also he will also say about flash point, auto ignition temperature, first aid measures, chemical spill response, pp usage అన్ని ఇస్తాడు. Even he will give in what way you have to treat the person if he comes in contact with that chemical. That will have that in material safety data sheet. Of course you people have known regarding that, but there will be a standardized way of studying that. Okay, and we have work permit system, what are different work permit systems, so on. Fire and explosion, we'll see. Here this is very important. We look into the fire load, chemistry of fire load calculations చూస్తాం. ఒక బిల్డింగ్ ఉందంటే వాటర్ ఇఫ్ depending upon the area, how many extinguishers are to be placed, in what way fire lines should be, what how much diameter the pipeline should be laid, అవన్నీ దీంట్లో చూస్తాం ఇది పేపర్ లో. ఓకే, this is the elaborate way of ప్రెషర్ వెజల్స్ అన్నీ ఉంటాయి. ఓకే, సిలబస్ అంతా ఇలా ఉంటుందండి. ఇదే ఇప్పుడు నేను 1 అవర్ ఈ 2 అవర్స్ లో చెప్పింది మాక్సిమం సిలబస్. ఇవన్నీ కవర్ చేస్తే మాక్సిమం ఈ ఎగ్జామ్ రాయొచ్చు. ప్లస్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో ఇట్ విల్ అప్గ్రేడ్ యువర్ ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ నాలెడ్జ్. దట్స్ ఇట్. tomorrow when you're going to committee meetings, or when you're going to speak in front of managers or bosses, if you have some knowledge, if you have some clauses or fact good at factories act, you can put your point there in the meeting, and you can say that this is our requirement and this is what we have to do. No one can say no. And we can, it's not like I'm not trying to say do not order or command there. It is if we have some knowledge, you can politely put your point before the heads or management, so that they'll see what is the effectiveness and what is the risk involved, and they can give the action plan. That's how we have to improve our safety standards in our company. In safety in construction, we look into measurement of construction. What is the message I got? Sir, there are any textbooks in India? See, textbooks means there is no specific textbook for industrial safety. You can follow the material which is given by the your institute, our institute. That's fair enough. Additionally, you'll have a lot of information from internet. You can also look into it. Okay. And also you can look into some textbooks like Factories Act. Some for some exam for some papers you have to follow Factories Act and all. You can look into the textbook. There is no specific textbook. There every chapter will have a different chapter book. I'll give you a lot of information through documents, through PDF documents. You can, it is more than enough if you can study those. And also you should work on in your home for as an ex and do some extra work. uh okay. Safety in construction operations, you will go with the see the any constructions, they will go with underground works, above ground works, movement of materials and persons, special works. And apart from this, I just wanted to tell you one four types of construction in this universe. Like first thing is, if any constructions will be above ground, underground, above water, underwater, that's it. These are the four types of constructions you can find. Outer space, they will construct satellites. That's not in our scope. Sometimes you may ask that outer space. No, leave about that. But because we are not, we anyhow will not go to the outer space and see our safety precautions there. Leave about it. Major work constructions happens on our earth is above ground, underground, above water, underwater. That's it. Okay. These are different types. Above ground we will have different activities, underwater we have different activities. Everything will go in that way. Okay. Everything not included in the material, sir. Okay, thank you. Yes, sir. See, do see material. See, nothing. You will not get any book which will have all the topics. You have to do your groundwork. Okay, everything will not be in a book. If it is so, it is not a book actually. Okay, that is I am saying out of my see, everything will not be in one book. Nothing. There is no such book that everything, even if your textbook, what you're studying in your college days, everything will not be in that. Okay, you will study and you will learn everything when you go to the job, right? So you utilize the book, take that book as a reference, you gain the knowledge from that. If you want an additional knowledge, you work on the documents what I give, and also work on the and take the resources from the internet. Okay, fine. And we'll see in safety in demolition operations. Okay, demolition, how to demolish. Okay, and accident prevention also we'll see here, how to prevent accidents. Statutory obligations as per national building codes. We have IS national building codes. Okay, we'll see that. And that is the end of our syllabus. This is what our syllabus is mainly divided into these kind of topics and all. See, uh, ultimately I'll tell you one thing. What is the main purpose of safety officer? మనం సేఫ్టీ ఆఫీసర్ ఏం చేస్తాడు ఫస్ట్? అసలు సేఫ్టీ మెయిన్ పర్పస్ ఏంటి? వాట్ ఈస్ ద మెయిన్ ఆబ్జెక్టివ్ ఆఫ్ సేఫ్టీ ఆఫీసర్? మెయిన్ ఆబ్జెక్టివ్ ఆఫ్ సేఫ్టీ ఆఫీసర్ ఈస్ టు ప్రివెంట్ యాక్సిడెంట్స్. అవునా? వాట్ ఈస్ అవర్ health and safety policy says? Our health and safety policy says the management and the company is committed to provide safe environment to the employees. అంతేనా? ఎవరైతే వర్క్ చేస్తున్నారో వాళ్ళకి సేఫ్ ఎన్వైరన్మెంట్ కలిగజేస్తాం. మేము ఏదైతే హజార్డస్ ప్రాసెస్ ఉంటామో అది ఐడెంటిఫై చేస్తాం. చేసిన తర్వాత కంట్రోల్ మెజర్స్ ఇస్తాం, అప్రోప్రియట్ పీపీ ఇస్తాం, సేఫ్ వర్క్ జోన్స్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తాం, ఎవరికి హాని కలగకుండా చూసుకునే బాధ్యత మాది అని పాలసీలో ఉంటుంది. అంటే ఎంప్లాయీస్ కమిట్మెంటే పాలసీ. సో what is the main objective of safety officers? Safety objects main objective is to prevent accidents, to analyze the risk, to reduce the risk to acceptable limits. అంతే కదా, అదే చేస్తాం మనం. ఎంత మేనేజర్ లెవెల్లో ఉన్నా, ఎలాంటి పొజిషన్కి వెళ్ళినా, వాట్ ఈస్ ద మెయిన్ objective is to prevent accident, to prevent unsafe actions conditions. Okay, that's how. Please come. So that is the end of our time. I hope you people have understood. అంటే కొంచెం ఓవర్ వ్యూ ఐడియా అయితే వచ్చింది కదా. ఓకే, రేపు మార్నింగ్ నేను సేఫ్టీ మేనేజ్మెంట్ సిస్టమ్ గురించి చెప్తాను. ఓకే, విల్ స్టార్ట్ విత్ సేఫ్టీ మేనేజ్మెంట్ సిస్టమ్స్. ఓకే, ఫస్ట్ పేపర్ స్టార్ట్ చేద్దాం రేపు మార్నింగ్. ఓకే, సో shall I take a leave? Is there any questions anyone want to ask?
సార్, ఈ ఒక్క బుక్ ఇచ్చారు కదా ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్ వాళ్ళు. హలో,
చెప్పండి.
ఆ ఒక్క బుక్ లో ఉన్న క్వశ్చన్ ఆన్సర్స్ అంటే అలా చదువుకుంటే సరిపోతా, ఆర్ వి హావ్ టు ప్రిపేర్ ఆల్ అదర్ థింగ్స్?
క్వశ్చన్ అండ్ ఆన్సర్స్ అనే క్వశ్చన్ మన కాన్సెప్ట్స్ అన్ని చదివిన తర్వాత మనం ఆలోచించాలి. ఓకే, క్వశ్చన్ అండ్ ఆన్సర్స్ అనేవి ఎలా చూడు, క్వశ్చన్ టు ఆన్సర్స్ చదువుకోవచ్చు. అది ఒక అది ఒక ఇన్పుట్ కింద తీసుకొని ఒక స్టాండ్ పై పెట్టుకోవచ్చు. క్వశ్చన్ అండ్ ఆన్సర్స్ ఫాలో అవి రాయచ్చు, దట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో గుడ్ థింగ్, బట్ బి ప్రాక్టికల్ అన్నమాట. ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు ఏ క్వశ్చన్ ఇచ్చినా రాసే విధంగా మనం ప్రిపేర్ అవ్వాలి. ఓకే, అలా చదవాలి. ఏదైనా మన కాన్సెప్ట్ అర్థం చేసుకున్నప్పుడు ఆ క్వశ్చన్ అండ్ ఆన్సర్స్ కాకుండా ఏ క్వశ్చన్ ఇచ్చినా రాసే విధంగా దట్ వే యూ హ్యావ్ టు ప్రిపేర్. అది కూడా కొంతవరకు ఇన్పుట్ బాగానే ఉంది, చాలా వర్క్ చేసి దాన్ని దే హ్యావ్ డిజైన్ దట్ బుక్. యూ కెన్ ఆల్సో ఫాలో దట్ బుక్. ఓకే,
ఇంకేమైనా బుక్ సజెస్ట్ చేయగలరా? అంటే లైక్
దేర్ ఆర్ ఎవ్రీ టాపిక్ హ్యాస్ సేఫ్టీ మేనేజ్మెంట్ సిస్టమ్ కి ఒక బుక్ ఉంటది. ఓకే, ప్లాంట్ అండ్ సేఫ్టీ ఒక బుక్, కానీ అవి చాలా కాస్ట్లీ.
I have that Neelam book of industrial safety.
I'm saying that first you attend the classes, attend the PPTs regularly, you work on the topics what we are discussing daily, and you ask me the doubts. Okay, if any doubts I'll clarify you. Okay, on Sunday